Oh yeah, here we are. It's family Wim Hof breathing session time. I want to invite you to feel the power, to feel the love, to feel the connection. Here I am, sitting with my beautiful stepchildren and my gorgeous little Evelyn, who's in and out of the frame at different times. Gosh, she's such a joy, her inquisitive nature, wanting to discover so many things. Anyways, here we go. So we take in some breaths. We're going to take in 3 sets of 30 deep breaths. As you can see, some of them are finding it difficult. Jai on the far left, he's really getting in there. He's got a good way to focus, and he knows how to separate himself from his distractions, and he gets right in there. Zara, slightly to the left of him, is really trying to get in, but she doesn't understand what we're actually up to. It's kind of just being part of the tribe. And when you do these kinds of things, what you're going to experience is a connectivity, a sense of belonging, and a really sense of fun and trying out something new, which can bring out some discomfort. But I want to invite everyone to get into that zone because it pays dividends. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to evoke a sense of energy which we don't normally have in our daily life because we've conditioned ourselves to live in a very substandard kind of way. And what the breath does is it allows us to condition our nervous system so that we can downregulate stress and the biomarkers that come with stress, and we can upregulate our superpower nature. And I know that sounds a little bit whimsical, a little bit mystical, but what I'm going to say to you is give it a go. So do the 30 breaths and then take a nice deep breath in and hold after the final exhale. She's so cute. So we're holding here. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to maintain a sense of calm and focus, even though I'm also trying to think, how's the best way to keep these guys on track? Isaac, to the far right of the screen, is struggling hard with the focus because he's being put on the spot by being on camera. But kudos and hats off to all of them for being, as a participant in this little video clip here. So the first hold or breath hold is for a minute long, and we're using a guided meditation video, as it were, done by none other than Wim Hof. Each set takes around 3 minutes at the pace that they prescribe, and it is actually really good. Recently, I've started to elongate my breathing, so that takes me to a total time of close to 20 minutes for the 3 sets. And so there I am again, getting Zara back in the zone. And when you do this kind of breathing technique, it does really stretch your mind and your body because you're fighting with factors of your biology that you're not really used to, like holding your breath until you sort of can't feel like you can't hold your breath any longer. And that's kind of like brings you into a state of panic. But what's really unconventional is that we take these deep breaths in, and the whole while we're starting to feel these sensations. And I will link in the description the exact video that we use, and by all means adapt it in your way. I like to go a bit slower now, so I don't use the video because his tempo is a little bit quicker than I like to go. But for a foundational setting, go with the video and see what you can discover. There's other people on YouTube that I've seen who report the feeling of shooting electricity through their fingertips and their toes and up through their skull. And I can only think, oh my God, I am like super envious and jealous of how powerful that feels. And so it only drives me closer and harder towards performing these types of breathing exercises more regularly, because when I have done this, what I've felt is a deep connection, a deep love, a deep appreciation, a deep gratitude, and a deep desire in conjunction with the things that I already love. It also demystifies things like self-limiting beliefs, in the sense of it brings out this sense of truth, which really says yes, you do have some work to do. And it is true that you may not be up to the gold standard of whatever it is you're pursuing, but Hamish, I want you to understand that it's not impossible for you to overcome these challenges. These are the kinds of understandings that I come to when I do these kinds of exercises. Now, if you've ever done yoga, these kinds of experiences are very familiar with yoga, and they're not a falsehood. They're not a pseudo sense of reality. They are an augmented sense of reality. They're a futuristic projection of the now. So if you have in any way, shape or form a sense of optimism where you see the challenges that lie ahead of you and you see your goals and what you'd like to achieve, then it is really worthwhile going ahead and doing these kinds of exercises. The funny thing about it is that they're not revolutionary, they're not innovative, and they're certainly not new, because they've been around for centuries, if not millennia. It's just that society has changed. In particular, the Western culture has belittled and whittled out these kinds of practices with every generation, little by little, because they just weren't a priority as part of the culture. But now what we're seeing is that a society is rejuvenating its sense of belief, belonging, and practice as a human being, because there's an abundance of dissatisfaction with the results that they're getting. People are coming into the awareness that working a 40-hour work week in a job that they really don't like so that they can have 2 days off a week and 4 weeks off a year is really not up to the standard. And with that, they're also having not just the mental anguish that comes with that paradigm, but also the physical ailments that come with an unfulfilling life. And there's issues with lifestyle diseases that have never been more prevalent. And these practices that you'll find in Ayurvedic societies or natural medicinal societies are really becoming somewhat of a cornerstone for self-worth and development and self-regulation. And what the breath does is it gives us a direct line to our central and autonomic nervous systems. Now, if you are interested in the hard science of this kind of stuff, you want to check out someone like Dr. Daniel Amen or Dr. Andrew Huberman, who are very well versed in areas of neuroscience and psychiatry, and they can set you straight on a Western speak paradigm that can shed light on how breathing is so functional towards modern society in a healthy way. I've been recently reading a book, I'm also listening actually, to a book called Breathe, and it is written by a man named James. I forget his last name, but I'll link it in the bio. And what I'd like to bring to your attention is that there's some really simple tricks, tips, and techniques that have been seemingly forgotten through either apathy, lack of continuity as a society, or arrogance. And I say arrogance because we discount the techniques of breathing. We discount the techniques of modern health and nutrition and being a balanced individual. And when I say being a balanced individual, it means balancing stress with recovery, or balance indulgence with being conservative. These actions we take for granted because we have the power of the will. So why not use the power of the will to have some level of conservation and build our immunity and our health and our foundations as a human being back up? If we're having symptoms or issues of being pre-diabetic or any form of ongoing chronic illness or any kind of inflammatory issue which is of a medium to long term, let's start changing that by changing our habits. Now, it doesn't need to be the breath. I would advise people to start to learn how to breathe better because it actually will change your facial structure. The way that you breathe is highly impactful on your facial structure physically, but also your mental structure, what you think, feel, believe, and act upon. is going to change depending on the stimulus that you get it. And when you start to breathe and you have this clarity around what is working well and what isn't working so well, you're able to discern those key features and then make choices. So if you make a choice that you will stop doing the things, or at least start to limit them, the things that aren't working so well, and you can increase the amount of things that do work well and integrate new things, well, that sounds like a recipe for success. What I want to allude to people is to have some patience around this process. Sure, you may make the choices today, and you may even make the actions today too, and tomorrow and the next day, but it does take time to transform. It does take time to build new and exciting pathways in your brain, in your body, and in your life. But I really want you to start today and to enjoy every single breath that you take. Now, I am just buzzing with energy in this video, and all of these beautiful kids have had an amazing experience. Much love to you guys. Hit me up in the DMs if you want to know more.